and you didn't know we were in no man's land or in Derry or in Donegal or whatever, but this was no man's land to us.
The borders were the thing to keep you in, you know what I'm saying? All the dragon's teeth and stuff like that.
At the start of this year, there was students from the first years that went to go play football with other students from Northern Ireland, and it was called Football for Peace, and loads of students were picked from first years.
It took a long time going through the White House, just every day. You could be on there for maybe half an hour. Seriously.
Hey you, he said, what have you got to declare today? And she said, you know fine well I'm not smuggling anything, I'm only going to Derry for a wheen of goods.
Muff had a frontier post and a road station to deal with all the freight traffic, and it also had a patrol car.
Culmore, Muff, Quigley's Point and Redcastle, they did a personal development course together. The kids formed a cross-border youth group, and it was actually a good accomplishment.
Me, I gave up counting when they took 273 photographs of me. I mean, stand up against that wall. And I gave up counting after that, so they must have had, I don't know how many. It was the same for any long-haired guy at my age at that time.
And I do find it pretty remarkable that the border of the Republic is almost invisible, and that one could just drive onto different turf without even knowing that you've moved from one country to another.
It was a kind of, a hot spot then. If you get across, you were, thank God that's over and done with,
My memories of going across the border are mainly of the customs man coming into the buses. It was stopped at the border checkpoint. My biggest fear was that we'd get as far as Lisfannon and no picnic.
Then you had transit papers for both sets of customs.
When I was about 13 of that, the only place we could go was to the Christian Brothers in Derry, and we cycled in from Drumhaggard in to the other side of the Lecky Road.
This team here would actually have probably the best history in terms of cross-border cooperation, because we also work closely with the RNLA, both in Lough Swilly and in Portrush.
It was necessary to make a request if you were going out of the village or into Derry outside of customs hours.
Well, this is the difference between the memories of the elder generation and the more modern generation when the British came in and took over the borders.
And then in between all these wee crooked lines, you have boreens and pathways and wee byroads, a spider's web of them, all over the border.
You thought it was someone else.
I've lived in Mayville since I was 5, and me and my friends go up in the bus to the cinema and go shopping a couple of times a week maybe during the summer.
You would have to seal their lorry when it went out at Muff, and the seal wouldn't be broken again until they came back into the Republic at My Bridge in County Monaghan.
It's glad to get away for a day like that.
And they used to come on the buses searching, the customs men would come on the buses searching to see, you know, if you had stuff on you and stuff like that.
We didn't have inward investment. We had restrictions on travel. People had to go through checkpoints.
We used to go out to Calais, out to the Black Hut, and the butter and sugar and all was out there, and we used to have to smuggle it in because we were rationed here, you know, that things were desperate then.
I remember going out in the train to Calais with my mother, smuggling in butter and sugar. I remember that.
We were living on rations, you know.
There was a bit of pig smuggling to be done. But this guy that worked in the fireman over the border would have let out the pigs belonging to his employer and hunted them down over the border.
I use the border for going over for diesel and stuff like that there.
You were glad to get over, and it's like another world down over the border then, no?
The cross-border youth group, they meet regularly, they plan discos, they do fundraising. So that's the biggest thing and the best thing that's come out of it.
Oh, the questions, you know, it was like, why were you not coming back out the way you went in?
But it got harder then for going across the border because you were searched every time you went and searched coming back again.
You know, after the frontier post had closed, you were patrolling what was called the unapproved roads.
The road that we took down to the rock, there's no checkpoint on it.
There is more and more and more folk from the north moving down to Donegal, especially around the border towns.
The customs closed, some of them at 6 o'clock in the evening and some at 11 o'clock.
They sent us away and cross border work because they wanted to stay mixed together and try and make both sides of the community get on better together, I think.
The 48-hour rule was where you had to be out of the country for more than 48 hours in order to avail of the more generous allowances.
My experiences at borders were never very nice, to be honest with you.
One of my friends from school was born just over the border, and he went to primary school in the north, and then he came to our school in the south then for secondary education.
If your land crossed the border, you moved them to one side to claim the grant on them, then moved them back out again.
The border was there for commercial reasons, economic reasons, but socially the border didn't really intrude that much.
There was no dances allowed or anything in Derry on a Sunday. Everybody headed over the border on a Sunday night.
Borderland, but that was a dance hall.
Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm...
Every Friday night we went down to Borderland, it was great.
But nevertheless, I'm in love with you.
Borderland was the first major dance hall outside of Derry.
Maybe I'll win, maybe I'll lose.
Oh, Borderland, McGilligan, the Plaza and Buncrana, all round, everywhere. There's plenty of dance halls to go to, you know.
I'm in love with you.
You also had a book that was stamped by the customs saying that you had left the Free State. Then you got 50 yards up the road, you stopped again, and you went into the British and they stamped your card.
There was just a wee hut up at the border where the soldiers stood.
Culmore was the same parish when I came to Muff, 81. Part of Culmore, about maybe a half of it, was actually in the same parish as Muff village.
But still, petrol and diesel sales would be very good on the border, especially diesel, because it's quite a bit cheaper still than it is in Northern Ireland.
In September of last year, we did a cross-border project through the Playhouse in Derry with the Balor Theatre, I think it was, and we put on a show at the end, and I met loads of people from the north I didn't know.
I haven't really been down over the border that often because it's two different religions for us. You'd think that more down there would be Catholic and you wouldn't be wanted down there.
You had to have someone in the north to sponsor you and your car.
It was so hard then to maybe get across the border.
Most of the activities that we do cross-border wise at the moment are youth work oriented.
But we've discovered working with Muff and working with Redcastle and Culmore that there are some things that people will travel the distance for, and there are some things that they prefer to stay in their own area for, you know.
You could make ends meet with taking the odd thing across the border. That would be from Northern Ireland out down to the Free State to like a butter, sugar and bread and stuff like that, you know.
Going to Derry was like going to East Berlin.